Welcome to the Brady Bunch.
Here's a story. Welcome to Toasted Lavender Podcast. Today we're doing something a little bit different. We are all in different places, recording together as one big Brady Bunch family.
Yeah, it's something. It's really something.
What are you guys drinking?
Well, I'm drinking this, and I think Kai is also drinking this. Or were you, Kai?
I have not had any of that this evening.
Okay.
I love that beer. It's the Utah Snapdown Lager. Let's talk about it, because it's delicious.
It's a rice lager, which means they use rice to make it. I don't know if that was obvious.
Not to everyone.
It's very light. It's also got ginger and lime, and it's 7.7%, and you would not know that.
Damn.
That's what's the kicker. That 7.7, you're just like, wow, and it's good.
Yeah. It's probably my favorite beer they've ever made.
Yeah, I agree with that. And it's not like the ginger tastes authentic. It doesn't taste like sweet, fakey. I don't know. It tastes fresh.
It does.
So
I agree. I give it like I don't know if I've rated it on Untappd before, but I would give it, I don't know, 4.25.
That's
4
what
and a
I
half.
would give it to.
4.5.
Wow. All right. Well,
4.5.
cheers to that. It's a great beer.
I am drinking the Ketos Sage Pale.
Nice.
This is a beer that we have been buying a lot of recently. And it's just very like crisp and yummy. It's like the perfect kind of piney, sagey juniper pale ale that I like. So cheers to Ketos.
Yeah, cheers to Ketos.
Yeah.
That's such a good beer. We're drinking the Utah Love Punch. And there it is. There's the Love Punch. It is a beer that is benefiting Project Rainbow. So Project Rainbow is a queer organization, nonprofit here in Utah that funds small queer projects, small and large queer projects, honestly. And this beer proceeds from shops and from the brewery Utah that brewed it go towards Project Rainbow. So that's really cool to see a brewery in Utah do something like that.
Yeah. We've gone there a little more often since they brewed it, just to like, I don't know,
Be like,
show them support. Yeah. We go there.
I feel like we've been there a lot more often too.
I feel like it's a really nice summer beer. It's like kind of tropical and light, but not too sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a Hefeweizen, and I don't usually love Hefeweizens.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say. I feel like whatever they did kind of covered up the parts of Hefeweizen that I don't like.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I will say I don't get very much pineapple from it. It like seems to be heavy on like the orange and the mango.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Penny, Nutkin, Blanche. Sorry.
There's
Penny is pissed
inevitably
off.
going to be some dog sounds in our videos. There's just
Sorry
no
about
way
the
to get
dogs.
around that.
Do you have any electrical tape?
No, we do not. Who are you people? I'm Lisa.
I'm Alex. Oh no.
You start.
I'm Alex and my pronouns are she, her.
I'm Lisa and my pronouns are also she, her.
I'm Kai and my pronouns are he, him.
I'm Lindsay, and I use she, her, hers pronouns. What?
You just got that?
We just always forget
I
that third
know.
one.
We need to have Lindsay start.
And the rest of us. Yeah. Cheers, queers.
Cheers.
Cheers to you.
All right, should we jump in?
Yeah.
Yes.
What is our subject today, Lisa?
So, to continue on our theme this season of queer joy, we found the queerest, joyous, filledest show available on the television at this time, and that is Heartstopper. And you can find Heartstopper on Netflix. It just came out on April 22nd. It's 2022. We are diving in headfirst into this show, and my heart is just bursting with joy just getting ready to talk about it. How's that for an intro?
I can see it. I can see it's
That's
bursting.
good.
I feel like everyone too, like, I feel like it's worth adding that we've had multiple people reach out to us who did not know we were recording a podcast episode on it, that were just like, oh my God, this show. So.
And it's been out for a week.
Yeah.
What does
Well,
that
maybe
say?
we should just broadcast live right now, and that'll be our
Facebook Live.
hello.
Yeehaw.
So I think it's important to start with where Heartstopper begins, which is its roots as a graphic novel. Are you guys familiar with kind of how this show came to pass?
I was not.
No.
Oh,
That changes a lot of things.
Yeah,
I'm
I
so
was
excited
not
for you
aware.
guys.
Okay.
So, Heartstopper is a viral graphic novel that started from a British author, Alice Oseman. I'm probably saying that wrong, but this person was also heavily involved with the Netflix adaptation. But this is some foreshadowing, but some of like the aesthetic and the elements you see visually come straight from the graphic novel, so we'll come back to that. But so yeah, started in the UK, just became a huge hit. There's a good chance that there'll be multiple seasons because there is a huge backlog of this webcomic that's been going on. So it started on Tumblr in 2016, and it gained a really significant following, specifically in the LGBT community, as you could see. And it kind of like, it's interesting because just what I read about it, it kind of like started in that dicey time where stuff on the internet that had anything to do with LGBTQ just like led to, I don't even know how to,
Like weird porn sites and like weird.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, like that. I see that like coming up multiple times on the internet. It's just, it's like kind of weird, but it gained a super significant following. The author, she launched a Kickstarter campaign. Within 2 hours, she reached her target pledge. So the fan base coming into this show is insane. Obviously.
So it was already high.
Yes. And that Kickstarter was in 2018. So like,
Okay.
this whole thing has been going on for about 6 years. They made this film, or not film, they made this TV series with the fans in mind and this huge fan base already in place. And they kind of included them in like the adaptation into the Netflix series. So I thought that was really cool. Like, obviously none of us are in that loop, but I feel like that's like a really important
I'm glad you
note
told
to
us
start
that, because
with.
I had no idea that that was a thing.
Yeah.
That's cool to know.
And we'll add this on our social media in our show notes, but the graphic novels you can purchase in volumes. So there are 5 volumes. And then there's quite a bit on the website as well, so we'll link all of that so you can go over there. But the art style is gorgeous, and I feel like it's very true to the casting and the style that they maintained throughout the whole series when they added kind of those like drawing elements to the show.
Right. Well, and I know that when Lindsay and I were watching, we noticed a lot of like camera shots that seem like they were from a comic book.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're very focused on the characters' faces, and then it's like their feet, and then it's their phone, and then it's their face again. Like it's very. It reminded us of like a comic book or.
Didn't I say that while we were watching it?
Yeah, you said that. I
was like, it feels like a comic book, and I had no idea.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm impressed that you got that because I liked the little leafies and fun little graphics that were on the pages, but I didn't quite put together that comic element, and I had no idea of any of that backstory, so that really connects it all for me.
Yeah.
I thought really quick while we're on this, because this is something that I noticed too, is it's the best integration of like digital communication and real life communication mixed together that I feel like I've ever seen in a show. Like the way they depict texting and the way they kind of like show the text and then they show a reaction on the face of whoever's reading the text or typing
or waiting for the little dots.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
And
I love that you brought that up.
I feel like that's the best I've ever seen it done in a movie or a TV show, but I don't watch a lot of movies, so maybe there's another example, but
it's like where you feel the anticipation with them.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah. I loved there were multiple times when Nick, who will explain the characters a little bit more, but just going off of what you said, Lindsay, he's looking at his phone and it's like you see Charlie write 10 different messages and erase them, and you can just see Nick like watching the 3 dots appear and then disappear and then appear and then disappear, and that's like so real when you're like waiting for someone and to respond. I didn't even pick that up. I'm so glad you brought that up because that is a really great point.
And I liked when they would draft a text and then delete it. Like it shows all the different things that they want to say, but then they don't say it. And then so you're just like following their thought process of like.
And how relatable is that? Like how many texts do we all draft and rewrite every single, like, I don't know. I know I do it a lot, and then I'm like, no, that sounds rude. I should rethink that. Like,
yeah, I loved that. I loved watching them struggle to like find the words to say, and then there was a lot of tension in those moments, and I feel like that's true. Like that happens, to me every day.
Yeah, agreed.
So in the production, they did really keep in mind the graphic novels and like you said, like you could see those scenes. A lot of the shots that they made in the TV series were direct recreations of the comics. So like they were very in tune with how they wanted everything to look, which I think is important to note too.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question, an old person question?
Mm-hmm.
Was it an anime?
No.
Is
this anime?
So it started as a webcomic, which means it was a comic that was just put on the internet, okay? And they drop new issues or like new segments of the story like a couple times a month. Okay? And then a graphic novel is when they take a section of them and publish them in a book that you can actually buy. So you have like the physical copy. That's a great question. Like I don't know how many people would know that. So it
what's
starts.
An anime?
Anime is like a certain genre of comics. And that's like more Asian influenced.
Okay. Go on. Go
That's-
on. I'll look it up later.
That's all I have to say. Do you want me to look up the definition of anime for you right
No,
now?
no, I don't.
Well, I think
Sorry.
earlier, Lisa, I think the problem is earlier you referred to it on Tumblr, and Alex has no idea what that is.
Okay. Okay, okay.
No, you don't have to explain it. You don't.
No, move on. Go ahead.
It just debuted on Tumblr, which is
Okay.
like a predecessor of...
It's like the Twitter of emos.
It's like the Reddit... Okay, I'm putting it in terms you can understand. It's like kind of a version of Reddit years ago that's visual.
Okay. Got it.
So, does someone want to volunteer to just like give a very simple synopsis of like what the show's about?
It shouldn't be me.
It really
No,
shouldn't
it
be
should
Alex.
be. No, it should be.
Oh,
No,
wait,
I'll
no,
do
yeah,
it.
you're
I'll do
right.
it.
It should be you.
Yeah, I'll do it. Okay. Hold on.
Wait, why shouldn't it have been and then suddenly it should? What do I not know?
We'll find out later.
The main themes, the Cliff Notes, is young queer is in a shitty relationship with a closeted person
Who's a
who
jackal.
sucks. Yeah, who sucks. And then is like finding his way into another relationship. And this other relationship is a person who has never thought of themselves as anything other than like cis straight white male. And then it's also like the peripheral friendship group, the end.
Yeah, no, that was great. We meet
Okay, thank you.
Charlie, who's the main character, who is an openly gay 14-year-old boy. And
Used to being bullied.
used to only being with people who want to kiss him in the library in secret. He meets Nick, who is a straight popular rugby player, and they fall in love.
I like both of your synopsises side by side, so please keep them.
So I want to talk about some of the characters. Like, who was I want to hear everyone's favorite character and why. Alex?
Okay. My favorite character was...
While you're thinking, this episode, this entire episode is going to be full of spoilers. So if you haven't seen the show, it's up to your discretion. But we're going to
Stop now and go watch it.
Go watch it. It's 8
It's
episodes.
binge-worthy. It will
Binge
take you
it.
a second to get through it.
They're very short episodes.
Okay, Alex?
I guess Charlie's my favorite character. I don't know. Charlie.
Why?
Because he's like a little church mouse. He's just a church mouse. That's it.
Okay. I see that.
That's a good enough
Okay.
reason.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Kai, who's your favorite character?
You can have a runner-up, you know. You don't have to pick just one.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Ellie's my favorite character, and I just feel like it's because she just is.
Okay.
Lisa and I had a really interesting conversation that we'll talk about later, but about Ellie in particular, but like, she is the trans character in the story, but she just is. Like, the narrative isn't all about her being trans, and I love that.
Right, yeah. I was going to say something about... I have a note here about how... I just, like...
We can talk
Quick
about it
side
now.
note.
We can talk about it now.
Yeah,
Let's
just
dive
very-
in.
Let's go for it. Let's dive
Is
in.
it... I like that it wasn't the main, like, focus point of the story at all. And it wasn't... It was just, like... Elle went to the school last year and got bullied, and now Elle goes to this school, and it's like the end.
It just
I
was
mean,
a
it wasn't much more than that. Yep.
She goes here now. Obviously, the all boys school didn't make sense for her. She now goes to the girls' school.
Yeah.
The end, and like, sure, we realize that she's bullied and experiences some things, but like, there is none of that backstory really, which is very
Right.
refreshing.
I love
Well,
that we don't see any of her transition. We don't see anything necessarily negative. It's just like she's a normal trans teenager. And I can't recall any time I've ever seen that in a show.
Ever. Never.
Well, and it's like we don't get any insight into who she was before she went to the new school, like her dead name, her family, her like trauma. We don't have to deal with that. And I think that's really like refreshing to just like have a trans character in the background and you don't have to like go through a whole
Yep, cheers. Like, we don't have to know their horrible past and dead name and all their triggers. Like, we can just celebrate them
Right.
as who they are right now. And that was so refreshing. So,
And
they have a lovely friend group.
yes, very supportive. And everything Elle goes through in this season is regular teenage girl stuff.
Yeah.
Making friends, you know, like having a crush on someone, going to a new school, like it's all just regular teenage girl issues. Like nothing is like specifically trans related. And I thought that was like, and I love how Tao's mom just like loves her every time she comes over and is like just like
leave the
treats
door
her.
open, kids.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Everybody else still needs to say their favorite character.
Okay.
So let's not get carried away.
Well, I'm changing mine to Tao's mom.
Cheers. Cheers.
Cheers.
All right, Lindsay, who's your favorite character and why?
I feel like mine's a little bit of a cop out.
Okay.
I liked Isaac.
Hell yes.
Okay.
I'm so glad you brought up Isaac because I'm just like, this fucking guy. I loved him. He's just like always
Yeah.
reading a book.
Yeah, and I wanted to write down all the books I saw him reading. I think one of them was like Gender Evolution or Revolution. Does anybody remember?
Oh yeah.
God damn it.
No.
I remember.
It was gender
I
something.
don't know. Something gender.
We'll find out. I bet somebody wrote them all down, but
I wanted him to have more lines and more. Like, I feel like he was too. I get that he was supposed
I think
to
he
be
was just
shadowy,
right.
but I
Perfect.
wanted him to like have. All right,
No, we all had a friend like that in high school, and they all like filled that role in your friend group and just like made it a complete group. Isaac doesn't want to say
have
anymore.
this strong silent type, you know?
The introvert.
Yep. The one
I
that's
like that-
grounded.
So it was the very end of the spoiler, like sports day when Isaac was doing the javelin, Charlie was holding his
Yes.
book.
And he was so happy.
Yeah, he was so happy.
Okay, I gotta plug in my laptop, sorry. I just got a notification.
Yeah, you better hurry, oh shit.
honey, you're gonna have to do a whole shimmy sharoo because there's not a plug right there. You gotta go to the other side.
Shimmy sharoo. Is this like shim shiminy? Is this like shitty
That's
shitty bang?
exactly what it is. It's shim shiminy, okay? Shim,
Okay, is it Mary Poppins or
That's
Shim
Mary
Shim
Poppins.
Bang Bang?
Yeah,
Mary
it's
Poppins. You were close.
All right.
Do you have anything else to say about Isaac, Lindsay?
No, I have a lot to say about some of the character development in the show and some of the storylines, but we can get to that later. I just liked Isaac because he kept me like kind of intrigued, like, oh, what's this guy gonna say or do, or who is he? Like, he's kind of mysterious, and I kind of like that. I don't know why.
Lisa, who is your favorite character?
I love Tao. Like, I want a whole season just on Elle and Tao. I just like God, his like hair. I feel like if I was like a straight guy, that's how I would want to look. And obviously,
I had hair like Tao. I'm not like kind of like Tao. I had like these little bangs that went like this. like down the sides of my face.
Oh my
They were like very defined.
Oh my god.
I liked the like extreme flip with the beanie. Like
Yes,
that
you have
look.
that.
That look is it for me. Like I'm just
Yeah.
like I love it. And I love how he was like this huge like cinema nerd and he just wanted to like force all of his friends to watch movies. I just like really vibed with that character. I felt
Yeah.
he had a great bedroom.
The vibe in the bedroom, like all like it just felt like I was in like an art gallery while we were like seeing his bedroom. It was so cool.
I loved his character development. He was such a good friend. He was so worried. And then like his feelings were genuinely hurt at one point and he's just like I don't know. I just felt for his character the whole time. I love the side love story between him and Elle. That's by far my favorite character.
Can I ask a question that we might not know the answer to?
Absolutely.
So, I read Tao as a gay person, and
I initially did too.
And they don't really say that, right?
Okay. Let's talk about that because I feel like this is a different universe than what we have any relation to. Like this is not the high school any of us went to. This is not like the environment that any of us came out in. There's a lot to unpack there.
Right.
Okay, but like this friend group, like I feel like no one needed to really say what they were. Charlie, Elle, Tao, and Isaac. It's like they're holding hands, they're saying I love you, they're like texting I love you, checking in on each other. Like there's no sort of
There's no build up. There's no build up. There's no controversy. There's like they just exist.
They're just like friends who don't give a fuck what their labels are, aren't looking for some sort of like outside thing. Like I feel like we don't need to know what they identify as because they're all just like these are our people and we love each other. That is a group that I would want to hang out with in high school that I would feel comfortable being with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like those are the friends I wish I had.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, me too.
Those people, honestly, like that friend group reminds me of the friendship that I had with Blake and Eden and Ashley. That I like. That is like those fucking weirdos are my group, and like that is.
And
what
it
that
doesn't matter, like, and like everyone's a little bit queer because you're all like, you're not questioning each other. You're not like putting all this pressure or labels, like you all just kind of get each other. And I feel like that's what makes a good supportive group is like Elle and Tao are falling in love and Elle is trans. So obviously Tao is like maybe pan or something, but like that doesn't matter. That's not like the focus of it. It's like two people who are best friends who are connecting on a deeper level.
Yeah.
Do you think that's going to be like a season 2 storyline?
I hope so because I really want to see their storyline explored because it's just like exploding with chemistry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to say I was like slightly turned off by the gay boy narrative at first.
From
like,
Tao?
I'm like, okay. No. For
Just
this,
generally.
like, for Charlie and Nick. Yeah. Because, you know, there's a lot of gay boy movies. That's all I'm saying. So
Okay,
at first I was like, all right, this feels a little, you know, predictable.
Stereotypical, yeah.
Okay, but let's talk about that. Because that is something we talked about.
The predictability, especially, was something that we discussed.
Let's go there.
Okay,
Let's go there.
spoilers again. But I really like how, what's his name? Nick. I really like how Nick, he started off a couple episodes doing like Google searches like, am I gay? so it's clear that he like dives right into am I gay, and then he ends up on I'm bisexual, and I feel like I have never
And I was impressed
seen
that was
before,
a thing.
where it goes from like,
Yeah.
well, maybe I'm gay to like maybe I'm bisexual, and I think that
Yeah.
him coming out as bi to like his mom, his friends, his boyfriend, I think is like something that we haven't seen before. It's all like, I mean, I don't want to say it's all gay all the time, but it seems like there's not a lot of like bi main characters.
Yeehaw!
Yeah, and nobody had a problem.
It wasn't even like kind of odd, or it was very normal, and it was very comforting to me. And this show isn't about comforting me, but like it just was, and it felt so natural.
Charlie didn't like say anything about it.
Right, he wasn't like, "Oh, you're not just gay for me," like you like it. Like he wasn't threatened or like.
Yes.
Yep,
Mm-hmm.
he was just like
happy.
He was actually joyous. Yeah, like you came out. I'm so happy for you.
Well, and you know what's crazy
for Nick. He was gay for Nick. Okay, go on.
Go ahead, Lindsay.
No, I just, like, I keep coming back to this, so I might as well just say it now, but, like, I feel like all of these high schoolers were way too fucking mature. Like, I was not that mature. Are you kidding me? Like, Charlie is like a 60-year-old man in a high schooler's body. He's like, okay, cool. Yeah.
Well, he's been out for a while, right? Like
But dude, he's also not. Like, think about how he just like shuts down completely and goes and hides in the lunchroom to have lunch because he refuses to like talk about his feelings. Like, he has moments of maturity. He for sure has moments of maturity, but I don't think that he doesn't come across to me as like a fully figured it out kind of person. He comes across to me as like a pretty damaged person.
I get that, right? And he obviously has a part in the series where he's like, I don't know why I exist. Like, I seem to be fucking up everybody's lives. And I don't think that's a teenager feeling. I think that can be anybody's feelings. And just because he isolated himself in the art room, I don't think that's a teenager thing. I think that's anybody thing.
No, for sure.
I just felt like Charlie as a character was really mature. And all the characters were really mature, which I very much enjoyed because I feel like it's a good example to the teenagers that may be watching the show. Like, how to deal with these emotions, how to ask hard questions, how to navigate hard situations in a constructive way and not like a reactionary, dramatic way. Like, if you think about it, none of them were that dramatic. Like,
no,
all the teenagers I know.
Yeah. I just want to circle back before we get too far down of the predictability. Because when I watched it, I feel like I was waiting for a tragedy to happen. And in hindsight, it was a very predictable storyline. It was almost like a fairy tale. Like, everything happened that was like happy. Like, we never get that with a queer storyline. I was like waiting for something bad to happen, and then it never did, and so it surprised me. So now that I'm thinking back, I'm like, oh yeah, this is like so predictable that they like ended up together. They had this like iconic kiss moment. Like, it kind of has the same formula as a fairy tale, but it wasn't predictable as I was watching it because we never get that.
I completely agree. I was just waiting for like the terrible backstabbing friend or the lover that just like was like suddenly I'm straight, or like I literally anything terrible. I was just waiting for somebody's heart to just be ripped wide open, and it doesn't give you that, and it's really refreshing, honestly, because you never ever ever see that with queer media ever. It was celebratory, it was happy, it was innocent, and
to touch back on what Lindsay said, it was like, even though there were touches of bullying and like coming out and like those things weren't the main part of the story. And I feel like for kids watching that now, it would give them tools of like how to deal with that in a very positive way. Like it just felt like this very refreshing take on how to deal with that. And that doesn't have to be like the main storyline of your story. It doesn't have to be like the main focus. It's just kind of like this side thing that might happen and like something to be dealt with, but there's like a happier outcome if you're true to yourself and you're, you know, like living authentically.
Yeah. And this was refreshingly like adult and
yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, it was relatable. It was like what I wished I grew up with, you know?
Right. What would our lives be like if we had this type of media when we were 15? Like, I can't even think of anything to compare it to. Everything we had was just like a jest, like you were the butt of the joke, or it's like even like things like "But I'm a Cheerleader," like so over the top, like satire. I just like can't think of anything like this that I've ever seen before, let alone when we were that age.
I mean, even Queer as Folk, like there were good portrayals of like gay relationships and whatnot, but like it wasn't. This show was just like a fun, very innocent, very normal kids in high school. Like it just felt so normal that it felt unreal to me. That it was just like a queer drama with young kids, and it's not taboo, and that just felt kind of unreal to me, because I feel like everybody tries to make it taboo no matter what, and this show was just like so innocent, and like there, you know, when the kids were kissing in the school and all that, there wasn't some authority coming over to get them in trouble or get mad at them. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just felt really chill.
Yeah, so here's the twist, is that I didn't really like this show. No, I didn't really like this show. No, I didn't really like it. I know.
Let's go for it. Let's go for the twist.
Okay, so all the characters that we talked about, I feel like I've felt these feelings. Like, I've been the Charlie, and I've been the Tao, and I've been the L, and I've been the Nick. I feel like I've been the Nick, and like
same dude. Same.
All of these feelings are like cringy and negative, and like make me just want to like curl up and die. And so like all these things, I don't know. It just made me like feel feelings the whole time we watch this.
Okay, but is it because of their relatability? Can I just like interject and say,
yes.
Is that why you
yes.
didn't like
yes.
it? Is because it was so
yes.
fucking relatable
and that's why,
that it made you miserably uncomfortable?
I'm so
the wife
uncomfortable.
tunes
like,
in.
that's why it was just too much. Like, too much.
Okay, I can totally see that.
So, like, the purity and the innocence, the fact that there's, like, no sex, it's, like, being queer is not G-rated, right? Like, we all know that. There's nothing G-rated about living the way we live. But, like, I feel like this story made it so accessible that, like, anyone at any age, like, fifth grader who is struggling with their gender identity could watch this. And, like, I feel choked up even, like, thinking about this. But it's, like, this story, this portrayal is, like, so accessible that it's, like, I feel like this show is going to change people. I think it's going to, like, change people who are in this younger demographic who aren't going to have to deal with some of the shit we had to deal with when we came out. And I think it's gonna, like, open people's eyes that it's, like, not this, like, I don't know, you know, some people, like, portray queer people as, like, being
predators.
Yeah, like, sexual predators. Like, it's not, this is, like, so pure and just, like, relatable. I feel like this show is more valuable for allies than it even is for queer people.
But can we transition into how it felt relatable? Because to me, there were multiple situations where I was reminded of very specific scenes and memories of being in high school.
Absolutely.
So yeah, it feels like a fairy tale, but it also feels very real at the same time. And I think that's, like, the magic of it, right?
Yes.
Like,
and this is
it's
never
like how you
portrayed.
wanted it to be. Yeah.
Yes, this is, like, what all of us fantasized about as kids, and it's like now we get that, and it's like to see it normalized. I feel like there's so much here. And Alex, I'm sorry that you had a hard time watching it.
Yeah.
And I like validate that and recognize it, because there were a lot of things, and
you got to revisit a lot of emotions when you watch it.
It's kind of triggery, dude. It's kind of triggery, like, if you really get down to it.
It is.
For certain things. I mean, I'm not saying for everybody or for everything. Like, it is a positive-ish show, but there are a lot of triggery subjects and relatability that really feel kind of hard to handle at times. Like,
I think because it's so relatable, it makes it so stressful. It's because, like, I felt those feelings. And
you're, like, back in 8th grade, like, oh my god.
Yes.
Well, and have you ever seen those things portrayed on TV that in that way?
No, I haven't. It feels
not
very
so
authentic,
personally,
like,
right?
awkward teenage.
It was almost too authentic.
Yeah,
in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's too authentic.
But you think of all the other teenage dramas, like, even the shows that have, like, queer subplots, I don't feel like anyone's even, like, gotten close. That's what's so great about
this show. It literally hit the nail on the head. Like, it targeted me and what I went through at that age as a queer youth. Like, it made me feel like I was just being, like, a light shined on me that I couldn't escape from, you know? Like, it was, like, right on me.
Can we talk about the idyllic coming out moment when Nick comes out to his mom?
Yeah, we should.
That's one of those adult situations that I felt like was what I wished I would have done. Like, oh, here's my time. I'm filling up my coffee mug and my mom's sitting at the kitchen table. Like, I'm going to go for it.
But that mom, like, that was the dream, you guys. That was the dream.
Yeah.
Like, and the people who have, and that's the thing is, like, I don't know if we're just living in a new time now and this is the new reality of some of the parents, because I've seen, like, our friend Audrey and her kid coming out to her in a celebratory way. Like, I don't know if the time and style of us coming out when we did was, like, different than how it's going to be in the future. But Nick's coming out to his mom was emotional, and it was sincere, and it was respectful, and, like, treated him and validated him as an adult who felt his feelings and like validated his feelings. And she was just like, I'm happy for you. I love you so much.
And it wasn't like hair on fire at the same time.
And
it wasn't like, oh my god.
It wasn't hair on fire. No, it wasn't.
Yeah.
It was genuinely respected. Right.
Mm-hmm.
It felt very genuine, and it felt genuinely respected, and like, I don't know if understood is the right word, but like willingness to try to understand. Like, it just felt very empathetic to me.
I agree. But that's like the theme for me for this show was all the good choices everybody made, right? Like, there were some bad situations, but all the characters made good choices, you know? Like, they didn't act like they didn't react in an aggressive or angry, or, I mean, aside from the fight, which I think at that point was like sort of justified, you know, like,
yes,
when
it was absolutely justified.
Yeah.
Here's a story
of a guy named Brady?
of a lovely lady.
Oh, sorry.
Were there any like really noteworthy scenes or like specific episodes, times that like kind of stood out to you guys, either based on your own experience as queer teenagers or just like moments that you were like just impactful?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, that was a yes or no question.
That
Go
was,
ahead,
would
go
you care
ahead.
to elaborate?
I have a fun story. I'm going to try not to name any names, but I feel like this will be very predictable. So, you know how Charlie joined the rugby team to hang out with Nick?
Oh shit. Is this a softball scenario?
Yeah. Yep. There was somebody that joined, there was somebody that tried out for the softball team because I had been on the softball team.
So you were the Nick in this scenario.
Yeah,
I was.
Lindsay's the jock. You guys.
Oh.
Lindsay's the jock.
Yep.
I just
We know
thought
this.
it was really fucking funny. Like, it felt so personal to me because that happened to me. And then I had to watch this person try out for the softball team. Who, you know, like, I don't remember if they didn't make it or if they just decided that maybe it wasn't for them. So I'll give them that. But I will say that they wanted to be involved so that they could be with me more often. And that was pretty wild to see on a TV show because it happened to me.
And it feels like you're achy when you're like the person who it happened to. It feels a little uncomfortable.
You're like, oh no.
Yeah, I can
This bitch
like
can't hit a ball.
no. Okay, so it wasn't.
Oh, shit.
Okay, we don't have to go through all the things, right? But I do remember specific exercises where I was like, I don't know if you should, maybe this isn't for you.
Yeah,
Like,
don't try out, please. Don't, please.
I appreciate the effort, but
I'd rather just hang out with you outside.
Yeah,
of
we
my
can just hang out later.
extracurriculars. Yeah. All right.
yes. So that was wild for me. I was like, "Oh my god, this is very funny." Yeah. So that's my relatable moment. Probably the most relatable moment, I think.
Alex?
A relatable moment for me?
Yeah, or just like a scene or an episode or something that was like very noteworthy to you that just kind of stuck out.
Oh.
We can come back to
Yeah,
you.
come back to me.
We can
If you
skip
want to
you.
think about it.
Skip.
Kai?
You go. You up.
I feel like that moment when they're at Harry's party, so Harry is like the rich kid bully, and he has a birthday party, and there's a moment where the lesbian couple, Tara and Darcy, who are kind of like they're like a pretty important part of the storyline, but they kiss at this party in front of everyone. Dramatically. There's music, there's lights, they're on the dance floor. Like, the kiss is like a main part of this episode, and it kind of like inspires Nick to go and kiss Charlie. And I just like felt like that was a very just like magnetic and like important part of the show, and I felt that part like made me tear up. And it was just kind of like, I think it showed how important visibility is, and seeing someone else not being afraid to show who they are and what they're comfortable doing, and it directly impacted what he did next. Like, there was a cause and effect happening in that scene, but like it just kind of like, I don't know, it kind of just like really got me. Kai?
Yeah, I mean, I was pretty out in high school, like almost like as a defensive, like almost as like a fuck you. I'm gonna be like so out that you can't crack my shell, if that makes sense. Like, I'm gonna be so
you were a
fucking
Darcy.
out. Yeah, I was. Yeah, that, for real. Like, I'm gonna be so out that you can't crack my shell, even though I hear what you're saying. Of course I hear what you're saying, but like, I'm just like, whatever. I'm so out. And so, I mean, there were a lot of situations in the show, especially between those two, of like being with somebody who doesn't want to be out or show that they're out. And I don't know, like I don't have a specific scene to relate to, but I felt that the show was extremely relatable, and I was very out in high school to the discomfort of many of my friends and family, and seeing another person like that represented on television in a positive way was just very impactful for me. Even though I'm now 31 years old, like, it's just nice to, it just makes me feel positive that things are progressing.
Does anyone have any like other scenes or like storylines that really stuck out to them?
There's a scene where it's probably like a courtyard of the girls' school. I can't remember the name
Higgs.
of the Higgs. And it's like everybody's walking to class or whatever, and they sort of focus in on these two like younger girls, and one of them's like, well, there's like 1,200 girls at this school. There's gotta be like a couple lesbians, like implying statistically,
Right.
There's gotta be at least
Yeah.
two.
And then she turns to her friend and she's like, maybe you're a lesbian, you don't know it. And I laughed very hard at that. I thought that was very, very funny and poignant. Like, well, like, somebody's got to be a lesbian here, and maybe it's you.
Like, you're only 10 years old. Like, maybe you're the lesbian. I don't know.
You're only 10 years old.
I don't know. You don't know.
Yeah, I just thought it was, I thought it was a nice way to introduce, like, statistical probability, you
Yeah.
know? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
hi, this is still science, you know, we still have numbers to like talk about these types of things. And it's not that anybody is an outcast. It's definitely scientifically predictable. And I thought that was like a nice way to sort of say that. Like, yeah, well, you got 1,200 girls here. Like, some of them are probably going to be gay. Like,
There's
statistically
no fucking way
speaking.
that there's not gonna be. Yeah. Well, I just would like to say that this show, I wish that it was a show when I was a young queer teenager who was just didn't know what the fuck. And Alex, I totally agree and relate that there were moments that were just like unbearably uncomfortable.
Yeah, yeah.
Because they were, but for me at least, like, those moments are because I have lived those moments. And that's kind of what made the show so real, I guess.
That's why I didn't like them, dude. That's like why I didn't like those moments. Is because I've lived them and they're uncomfortable.
You don't want to revisit them.
No, I never do.
No, and I mean, I don't want to revisit them either, but I took some comfort in, like, it wasn't me revisiting them. It wasn't just someone
you.
else that's in my community has also had those experiences.
Yeah, I get that. I'm still, like, wrestling with it.
And that's okay. Wrestle all the time you need. Yeah. But those are my ending thoughts about the show.
I wish that was my experience as someone who came out later in life. I feel weird about it in a way that I wish that had been my reality. Something like that.
Yeah.
Me too. And that was what I was thinking about, like, the entire time. It's just how much I wish that I could have been in that group of friends or been in a time where we can move past labels and just be people.
That's where it felt like a fairy tale. But it felt good for me to watch it. Like, it felt like it filled my cup in a week where, like, a lot of shitty things happened. Like, there was a lot of, like, yucky news coming out this week. It was kind of a stressful week in our personal lives. We had a lot of stuff going on, and I feel like it's exactly what we needed. It felt very joyful. I felt a lot of queer joy this week because of this show.
It made me, I don't know, for me, like, it just made me feel hopeful. Like, if other people are experiencing life in this way as, like, young queer people, maybe the future's different for others, you know? And, like, I'm not trying to say we have the worst. Queer people right now don't have the worst time ever, but, like, I'm feeling uneasy about our rights, and I'm sure you guys are too, and, like, it's just a hard time. And so to find moments of peace and, like, celebrating us as we are just feel very celebratory right now.
So please watch Heartstopper.
Yeah.
On Netflix, and slide into our DMs, comment on our shit, like, let us know what you think of it. Like, I would love to hear other people's perspective, whether you're an ally, whether you're queer. We've had people texting us this week about it. I'm stoked to hear what other people think. And, like, if you have a queer kid, whatever the fuck, just, like, watch the show and let us know what you think, because I'd love to know. And we have some exciting things happening this month. We have a Patreon. So if you want to support our podcast and you are able to and willing, please check out our Patreon, Toasted Lavender Podcast. And we have a fundraiser coming up this month. Well, actually next month, June 18th. At Lavender Vinyl, we are doing a fundraiser for our zine, the LQ. We're doing a plant sale during the farmer's market. And we would really love to see you. So if you want to come down and chill with us, please do. Garden plants, house plants, we're selling some fun like painted pots. It's going to be a really fun time. It's also the second drop for Record Store Day, so we'll have some fun record releases at our record store. But if at any point you would like to donate to the podcast, please hit up our Patreon, or we have a Venmo. And we appreciate everyone who listens, and we love all of you.
And don't let anyone make you disappear.
Don't let anyone make you disappear. And you know what? I just want to say, Lindsay, that reminded me, that teacher who was out to tell Charlie, don't let anyone make you disappear, changed that kid's life. And there were teachers that were that for me, and people that were that for me. And so cheers to those people that remind us not to disappear, because it has saved people's sanity more than once, I guarantee.
I know we're not doing Queer Joy this week because this episode is just like bursting with queer joy, but one of my high school teachers, Mrs. Kidd, happened to be walking past our booth when we were setting up for Record Store Day in the LQ.
This is unbelievable.
And she's literally like probably the reason I'm still here. And she was like my shining star in high school. And she was my history teacher and just like the coolest fucking badass. And she's super Mormon. And she is now the principal of Washington High School, which is like the bad kids school in Ogden. And she like walked past and was like so excited to see me, and like took 10 issues of the LQ to like take to her school. And it's like people like that like are the reason why we're here doing what we're doing. There's a snippet of Queer Joy.
I had a teacher in 10th grade named David Sider, and I don't know if he's still alive or not, but cheers to David Sider. He was my history / like civil teacher, and he was awesome. This has been Toasted Lavender Podcast. Our music is by Cop Kid. Our art is by the lovely Debbie Dixon.
Lovely Debbie Dixon.
I mean, Lovey
Lovey
is fine with me.
I like Lovey.
The lovey Debbie Dixon.
We
I'm not
love
taking
Debbie
it back.
Dixon.
Yeah.
Check out our Patreon if you haven't yet.
I want to say we are recording video right now, and I feel like maybe that might be a Patreon exclusive situation.
Oh,
You can
that's
see
a
me
good
yelling at our
call.
dogs to not
Can
chew bones.
Can you save this to our Patreon so people can watch us on our corners?
We're gonna find out. Yeah,
We hope
We'll see what
that will be the
happens.
case.
I hope.
We all look
Yeah, I
very
hope.
beautiful this evening.
I hope that. Yeah, this was a
Sorry.
very impromptu situation. You may or may not notice that Alex and I are very congested this entire time, but so we had to do a remote recording, and we chose to record video, and so maybe you'll
I
see
feel
it.
like we killed it tonight, you guys.
We're here.
We're queer.
We're drinking beer.
I was drinking beer and I finished it.
Or liquid death.
No.
Are you singing Real soccer songs, Lisa? For God's sakes.
No, I wasn't.
Lisa, are
but I
you
can.
drinking your sister's booze, for God's sakes?
Yeah, it's a tequila and lime situation that I found in my fridge, so.
From your sister.
Cinco de Mayo. Did you hear that?
Hell yes. Hold on.
Hell yeah.
Hell yes!
God, Stone Cold Steve Austin over here.
Yeah, wow, that was intense.